Hi, I'm Lauren from the Pikes Peak Library District. So for Anime Fan Fest this week, I wanted to test out making my own mochi. So for those of you who don't know, mochi is this kind of glutinous rice cake that's a really popular Japanese dessert. But it's a huge pain to make because it involves pounding out the rice, and it's just really a time-intensive and labor-intensive process. And I'm a very lazy person, so I was trying to find some easy recipes that would maybe let me make it at home. And I found a recipe from Namiko-chan of justonecookbook.com for daifuku mochi, mochi that's stuffed with red bean paste, that supposedly can be made in the microwave in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to be testing that out today, and we'll see if it succeeds or fails horribly. But it seems like it'll be a really fun recipe to try. So we're going to go ahead and get our ingredients together and test out how this works. Alright, so before we start making this, you're going to need just a few supplies. So you will need 3/4 cup of glutinous rice flour, 3/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of cornstarch, and 1 1/2 cup of red bean paste. And I bought all of these things at the Asian market. Now there's also a few supplies you'll probably want. So you definitely want a microwavable bowl and plastic wrap to cover it with. It's nice to have parchment papers or wax paper that you can use when you're rolling it out so you can easily transfer it into the fridge. And then a rolling pin and a cookie cutter are also nice to have, but you can use the rim of a glass and the side of a glass to roll things out if you don't have these on hand. So once you've got these ingredients, we can go ahead and jump in. Okay, so for our first step, we're going to go ahead and mix our flour and our sugar together. So what you'll do is you'll take your 1/4 cup measure, and we're going to be doing 3/4 cup of our flour and 1/4 cup of our sugar. So that is all of our flour, and now let's get our sugar in there. Okay, and once you've got them in, you just go ahead and mix them together real quick. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our water and mix until it's well combined here. So remember, we've got our 3/4 cup of water. And we're just going to go ahead and mix this all together. Okay, so once your flour and sugar and water are mixed together, you're just going to go ahead and take the plastic wrap and cover your bowl, not too tight, with plastic wrap, and we are going to start the microwaving process. Now we're going to be doing this in 1-minute intervals. So we're going to microwave it a minute, mix it, microwave it a minute, mix it, microwave it 30 seconds, mix it, and according to the recipe, it's going to start to look translucent by then, and we'll know that it's done. So let's go ahead. There we go. And put this in the microwave. Okay, so our 2nd minute in the microwave is done. So what we're going to do is take this out and stir it with a rubber spatula here. And we can see it is actually looking pretty done here. So we're just going to go for our last 30 seconds in the microwave after we scrape this down and mix it, and then we will be ready to roll this out. Okay, now that our mochi is out of the microwave, it's time to go ahead and roll it out. So this is what we wanted our cornstarch for. What we're going to do is we're going to put our mochi, in this case I'm putting it on parchment paper so that we can lift it onto a cookie tray afterwards to go into the refrigerator. So we're going to take our cornstarch and we're just going to kind of spread it over. And the reason we're doing this is because we don't want it to stick to the surface, right? We want to be able to roll it out. Then we're going to go ahead and transfer our mochi there. And I'll use my spatula to help me get it out. Here we go. And you can put some more cornstarch on top of the mochi and on your hands and on the rolling pin that you're using. And if you don't have a rolling pin, I've rolled things out with just the side of a glass or a cup before. And it'll work out fine. Just make sure you're coating it with this cornstarch so that it doesn't stick. And what we're doing is really just rolling this out into a thin layer. Okay, so once we're happy with how that's looking, we're going to go ahead and transfer it onto the baking tray. And we're just going to pop this in the refrigerator to cool for 10 or 15 minutes. It's pretty hot right now. And before we start cutting it out and forming our little mochi balls, we want to have this a little bit cool. Alright, so I've taken my little circle of mochi and I've squished it out with my hands into a little circular shape. And now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of red bean paste and just put that right in the middle. And then I'm going to pinch around it like this. And I think I'll just roll it a little in my hand just to make it a little bit more circular. And we can have that be prettier, but there you go. We've got 2 of our mochi balls done. So I'm just going to keep rolling out these circles and then filling them with red bean paste. Okay, so I have finished rolling out most of my mochi. So you can see my early ones ended up looking a lot more like a pierogi, which is not what we were going for. So I started just doing it by hand because I found it easier to get that circle shape. And you can see I was very uneven in the size that I did. So I would say practice is probably good with this to figure out what pattern works best for you and to make sure that you're taking the time to roll it smooth, which I clearly did not. But I'm going to go ahead and chill these and then eat. Alright, well I hope you guys had fun with that. I really enjoyed testing out this mochi recipe, so it definitely didn't turn out perfectly. You know, I tasted it and it tastes delicious, but mine are very uneven in size and not as smooth and pretty as the ones in the recipe, so I think I have some lessons learned for next time in terms of keeping a really close eye on the ratio of flour to water and making sure that I'm stirring it enough in between microwaving and not overcooking the flour there. And then another big lesson learned for me, I really hated using the cookie cutter and ended up doing it by hand, which for me made it easier to kind of pinch and roll it, but also led to me having super inconsistent mochi sizes, which is maybe not the most attractive thing. So there's definitely some room for improvement there. But it was a really fun recipe, and like I said, it came out delicious. So if you want to maybe try and fine-tune that and make it prettier, or if you just want something tasty that maybe doesn't look too good, yeah, I would definitely recommend trying this out. And she has a couple other great ways to do this. You can do it with a steamer, a little bit more complicated, but or a little more time-consuming, but should give you some good results as well. So again, that's justoncookbook.com if you want to test out this recipe. I've got the link to it down in the description, and I also have in the description a bunch of information on some of the other stuff we're doing for Anime Fan Fest. So definitely go ahead and check that out and see if you'll enjoy some of those other programs and videos that we have going on. I've also got some resources for where you can get manga and anime from the library if you're looking for more of those. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you had fun with this. I certainly did. And now I'm going to go, I think, and enjoy my delicious mochi. Have a great day!